Hello, in this episode, let's have a look at gunfight in Battlefield 3. How to move, aim, use covers, push and fall back, etc. How things work in general. First thing you need is patience. Nobody learns things in blink of an eye. We all start with small steps and then improve them. It's quite natural. Situational awareness. The first thing you should focus on is to know where are your and opponent team's positions by looking at the big picture. Just take a look around. You'll see players with a blue triangle on them. They are friendlies. And the places without them are opponent locations. Check which areas are hot, from which locations your team and their team are pushing, etc. Then you can decide whether to play defensively or aggressively on whichever spot you like. As a team, you must push slowly by slicing the opponent lines, or you have to flank the opponents from very good spots. Never try to dive into opponent lines alone and blindly. It doesn't matter if you are even using a powerful vehicle. You will most likely be slaughtered instantly. Stay with several members of your team unless there is a good flanking opportunity or you are guarding an important location. Situational awareness is knowing and having the feeling about what's going on around you. First you should know the maps you are playing. Paths, corners, edges, places usually used by players, spawn points, etc. Starting with the big picture of the battlefield to the closer circles around you, you need to know what is your opponent doing. You have tools for that. Blinking objectives in Conquest mode, the minimap, dead body markers, sounds and voices, etc. Always have an eye on radar because radar is the guide for where to go, what to do, as well as where your opponents are. If the area in front of you seems clear, check the radar. If you can't see any opponents, check the radar. Be aware of your environment. You will see dead body markers for a short while after a teammate of yours is down. Notice that because at least one of your rivals is there. Your teammate is down because someone shot him down. Careful there and watch out. Check if the area is clear before exposing yourself. Aim down your sight and sweep the area. Always press Q button to spot while checking your environment or even while shooting at the target. Make it a reflex. Always check your corners. This is one of the most common mistakes. Aim down your sight before turning a corner in order to be prepared in case an opponent is there. You have to assume that always there is someone behind something in an area which newly comes into your line of sight. Do not rush while advancing, but don't stay at the same place long either, because someone will find and finish you soon enough even in the big maps. Under certain circumstances, you can hear footsteps and voices such as "Grenade, take cover," "I'm pinned, I need help," etc., indicating that someone who is not friendly is there. Pay attention to those kind of voices coming from your opponents. These are the major important aspects of situational awareness. And why is that so important, even more than aiming, accuracy, movement and positioning? Because if you don't know what's going on around you, you can't do either of these properly and move blindly, making yourself easy target. Battlefield 3 is not a run and gun type arena shooter. If the opponents see and shoot at you first, you are dead. Even if they don't shoot accurately, there is the suppression effect that makes you inaccurate in returning fire. Because of that, you have to be the hunter, not the prey. You have to see and engage the opponents first. For that, you have to know or feel what's going on around you. Actually, knowing and executing what you know are two different things, but if you know what to do, you'll earn that experience faster. Learn to survive longer. That's one of the keys for progress, otherwise taking down opponents will be harder for you. Movement. How to move from one place to another? Well, firstly do not rush. Stick with your teammates. While moving from one place to another, make sure that you are always close to some kind of cover. Make sure no one can shoot at you from at least one certain side of yourself. For this, advance close to walls, edges of the maps, buildings, certain objects, etc. to reduce the chances of taking fire from multiple directions, because no one can handle it. Don't travel in the middle of the map like a bullseye on you. Don't sprint in a straight line. Move unpredictably. Try to flank the opponents. If you see suspicious activity on your way, scope glare of a sniper rifle for example, quickly change your path and take cover. It means that eyes are on you and you are spotted. Help your teammates on the way. Revive them. Drop medkits, ammo boxes. Place spawn beacons to good positions. Deploy soft lands, etc. Aim. How to aim? Well, first aim down your sight towards the opponent as close as possible. Move your mouse precisely on your target. If necessary, move slightly left or right for precision. Hold still and shoot countering the recoil and track your opponent wherever he moves until he is down. Don't move while shooting, because if you move, bullets will spread because of the effect of your relative movement, not to the target you are pointing at your rifle. If the target is far away, lead shooting might be necessary, which means aiming in front of your opponent, depending on the distance because of the travel time of the bullets. You have to pick up the right weapon for different situations and adjust it to deliver the bullets where you are aiming. Some weapons are effective in close range and some are effective in long range and almost useless otherwise. Every weapon behaves differently in Battlefield 3. Learn the behavior of the weapon you are using and put the right attachments on it. Check my guide on weapons, attachments and perks in the video description. How to counter recoil. Every weapon has different recoil pattern. Learn it and move your mouse opposite to the direction of the weapon kick. For longer distance engagements, use burst firing. Check how your weapon behaves while firing in short bursts. Note that every weapon is effective with different burst firing patterns. Also note that some weapons have high initial weapon kicks and burst firing with them will cause inaccuracy. In every shooter game, aiming is one of the most important things. You have to be accurate. Make sure every bullet you shoot counts and take down the opponent as quickly as possible. If you are wasting time on taking down an opponent, in a way you are walking dead. Well, if you are familiar with FPS games, you can instantly have your crosshairs on your target when aiming down the sight. If you are new, that will take a little time, but in time you are going to get used to it to the point that when you turn to your opponent and aim down your sight, your rifle will be directly on the target, even the head. It will be like riding a bicycle. You'll do it with your instincts. Your brain will calculate the process automatically. And that ability can only be improved by playing, gaining the muscle memory. There is no other way. But to get there you can practice. Grab a bolt action sniper rifle with iron sights or put a no zoom scope on it like Cobra for example, and go to a 64 player team deathmatch server and try to take down the opponents. This might seem like nerdery and you might have horrible kill death ratios at first. Don't give up if you even have 5 to 50 KD. It's not important. The other day it will be 10 to 40, 20 to 30, etc. Day by day you'll improve and that will help your aim with the other weapons as well. Also you'll get to know how to position yourself, use covers and move. Such is a very good way to improve your aim in any shooter game as well as in Battlefield 3. Also finding the right mouse sensitivity is important. Try different sensitivities until you find the one that you are comfortable with. There is no objective standard for this. Some players prefer lower mouse sensitivities, which cost a lot of arm movement, but in return the aim is not affected with the slightest movement of the mouse. Some prefer higher mouse sensitivities to quickly react in intense combat situations. Very generally speaking, the right mouse sensitivity is the one with which you don't miss your targets while shooting. That is up to you. Combat. In combat, accuracy is very important among many things. As I mentioned, hold still while shooting, and if you are taking damage, get to the cover immediately. There is a very little time between whether you take down your opponent or he takes you down. You should know when to insist and when to fall back. Don't get greedy because there is always a second round unless you are down. Never go forward while shooting. This is one of the most common mistakes of less experienced players who can't help pressing forward key while shooting. You are running, for example, saw the opponent. Stop there, aim down your sight and shoot. Don't keep moving forward. Fire from the hip in close situations to take advantage of mobility. If the target is far away, use burst firing to avoid bullet spread. Always spot them by pressing that Q key even while you are shooting at them. Make it a reflex. If you are short or out of ammo while shooting at an opponent, do not reload. Switch quickly to your pistol. If you've taken down an opponent and half the magazine is left, do not immediately reload. Wait some time and check your environment, because his teammates seeing the action on radar may be onto you. This is another common mistake, even by the experienced players. Change your position immediately after taking down an opponent, because you were standing still while shooting, and at that time you might have been targeted. Even a slight movement in milliseconds might save you from a headshot coming from a sniper. Don't engage a group alone, especially if they have already noticed you. If it's possible, eliminate them one by one. Have a team to engage them or move to an advantageous location. Fall back if necessary. Stick with your team. Keep in mind that suppressed weapons fire is not shown on radar. If the opponents are far away from your firing range, take your time and spot them. Use the objects in the map against your opponents. Minimize yourself as a target by having the objects as cover, or even completely hiding yourself behind them. This will help you not only take down your opponents, but also make it a lot harder for them to take you down. For better quality gameplay, you have to learn to utilize all the things mentioned here, and even more. Learn from your mistakes as well, for mistakes are also good mentors, and try not to repeat them. Be patient while improving your skills, in action, in shooting, in defending, etc. Do not rush, do not give up. Have fun!